Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 52 on my countdown to retirement, plus a quick catch up for day 53. So, on day 53, I spent most of the morning with my wife at her cardiologist office. We were there to review her most recent echocardiogram and her general heart health. And it was generally good news, so that's awesome. Her heart has recovered from her heart attack that was caused by a vasospasm, which they used to call angina. So, other than a slight thickening in her right ventricle, her heart is pumping at the normal flow velocity, and she's in a good place. The cardiologist is going to put her on a prescription to manage the angina so she doesn't have additional vasospasms in the future. And he wants her to follow up with labs in 3 months, and then immediately after the labs, follow up with a visit to him. Or if she's feeling okay, she can push out the visit to 6 months, and he'll just respond to her lab work via the portal that they have in their office. So all that was pretty good news. So happy to hear that. After we got back, we were both starving because we hadn't eaten anything before we went to the appointment, and it took a couple of hours. So I made us a couple of half-pound hamburgers. I ended up just having 1 plus 2 eggs, and she had one with tomato slices and a mixture of mayonnaise and mustard. And then I submitted a limit order to sell out of the remaining positions that I have in Oracle. I'm just not comfortable with the fact that they're now borrowing debt that's exceeding their cash flow to run the basic business. So I think it's going to take several years until what they're doing can pay off. And so I would rather be diversified into other things versus sitting there with either declining investment dollars or potentially, dead money for a couple of years while the AI model under Oracle plays out. So anyway, then I made some baked chicken and some shrimp scampi for dinner, and then we ended up watching the FBI. And then day 52, which is today, and like many of you, I woke up to a chilly morning. It was 26 degrees here in Atlanta. And then before I started with my early morning meetings, I ended up playing a game of Mobility Ware Spider Solitaire. And when I won that game, I got the notice that I've, completed a 500-day winning streak. So I've won at least one game, I guess, consistently for the last 500. And then afterwards, after my meetings, I started a chuck roast for my wife. So I make it in a Dutch oven. So I put approximately a 3 to 3.5 pound chuck roast in a Dutch oven, and then I create the broth that I want to use for it. And then she also ends up getting red potatoes that are diced up along with some carrots. Anyway, I got that started. I got that into the oven. And then afterwards, once it was in the oven, I made breakfast for us, which is our traditional bacon and eggs. And then I started preparing to clear up my corporate laptop of any personal items that might have been on there. And so I removed any sent mail that I had sent to anybody, family, friends, or whatever that was in the mail system on our corporate email system. And then I removed any emails that I had in saved folders that were, again, of a personal nature or that I sent to myself for whatever reason. And during that process, I found an interesting item that I had emailed to myself. And it was a link to a CNBC interview that was titled, "Most Stocks Don't Work," says Data Trek co-founder Nick Colas. The interview was in August of 2023, and it covered the 30-year investing period between 1990 and 2020. And the big takeaways were that only 2.4% of global stocks make up all the gains for global equities. So a super small percentage of stocks basically deliver all the results every year. And then of the 65,000 global equities, 58% of those, right, uh, basically don't even perform as well as a T-bill. So that's not good. Anyway, so basically the argument for investing in market cap weighted index funds as the way to go, because of the concentration of earnings in these top companies, is I guess what he was stressing. Anyway, I will leave the link to this interview if you want to listen to it. It's only, I want to say it's like less than 5 minutes. Anyway, I'll leave it in the description box below. I think it's worth taking a listen to it. It's, at least my opinion, is pretty interesting. And then at work, we use OneDrive, so Microsoft OneDrive, as our storage repository. And so after I cleaned up all my mail files or whatever, I then copied over, and up until 2022, I used to be able to break my emails down into Microsoft Office PST email files. So I have all of my emails by year up until 2022. And then starting in 2022, the company created a policy that you couldn't do that anymore, and you had to keep everything in your main mail folder from that point forward, and that they would automatically back it up. So I copied 5 years worth of email folders up to OneDrive, and then I removed them from my actual laptop, and then I will, before I turn in the laptop, copy over the last 3 years worth of files, which are in one big file, before I turn the laptop back in, because I want them to be able to repurpose, basically wipe the laptop and repurpose it for whoever they want afterwards without losing the project management data for clients that I've worked on, over the last 8 years. So all of that's now stored. So then after I did that, I watched the recording of the halftime report on CNBC. Then I placed some limit orders for RTX Corporation, previously known as Raytheon, as a play on aerospace and defense. And then I also placed a limit order on Gilead to increase my exposure to healthcare in advance of retiring. So in my mind, healthcare is not only going to be a growth vehicle in 2026, but it's also a defensive play if the market starts pulling back from the technology side. So I'd like to be kind of overweight in that area. And so that's to supplement the limit order that I already had placed previously on the Fidelity MSCI Healthcare Index ETF, which is FHLC, which has yet to execute. It hasn't hit my price point. So, I don't just buy market orders. I use limit orders for everything. So I have a specific price target in mind for each thing that I want to buy. And, I put the orders in, and then it sits there on a good till canceled order up to the date that I specify, trying to get in at the price that I want. So that's typically on a pullback of a couple of percent. And then, I'm not trying to hit the bottom, but I'm not trying to pay up, because they just had a good day for some piece of news. So, kind of like everything else in life, you make the money when you buy, not really on the sell. So I want to make sure that, I buy it at a decent price. Anyway, then I watched a partial recording of Closing Bell, and then the roast was basically ready at that point in time. So I removed the silver skin and connective tissue from the roast, and then using 2 forks, shredded the meat, and then I put that back into the Dutch oven, and then put the Dutch oven back into the regular oven to keep it warm, while I then prepared a porterhouse for me to eat for dinner. And so fired up the grill, put the porterhouse on. When that was ready, pulled the porterhouse, lathered it with some grass-fed butter, while then I pulled the roast out and then gave my wife a bowl of the roast, and then we both sat down, to dinner together, ate our meal. She ended up having a second bowl of the roast, so she said it was good. I didn't taste it, so I don't know, but I'll take her word for it. And then, as I surmised, she has enough roast left over, since it was just her eating and not me joining her. She's got enough left over for at least a couple of lunches, plus probably another dinner. So anyway, that's that. And then my plans for this evening is to watch the crossover event of NCIS and NCIS Origins. I've been looking forward to that, so hopefully it's a good couple of episodes joined together. And really, that's about it for today. So if you have any questions or comments about today or yesterday, please leave them in the comment section down below, or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and until tomorrow, take care.